I started today by getting the things ready so that I could do the giant dwarf quest. Then I teleported myself over to Lumbridge and I bought a few things from the basement shop so that I could make a red berry pie and stick it in the oven. Then I went through this cave entrance and spoke to the dwarf here to start the quest. A quest that I would soon learn was absolutely horrendous to do. I had to speak to the majority of the people in Keldagrim, which is pretty aptly named because running back and forth in this place is nothing but grim. At one point I had to leave here and find Thurgo just to give him that red berry pie that I'd made, then come back here to do more tasks and prove myself. I had to get initiated into the blue opal. First task I had to do was to get 3 pieces of tin ore. I checked my bank and I didn't have enough, so I had to go down here and find a guy who would sell me some. I bought some copper and iron too, just in case, and then headed back to the opal guy. The next quest he gave me was to get 3 copper ore, which luckily I had right here with me now. So I handed those over and got the third task, which required 3 pieces of mithril ore. I chanced my arm and said no to this one and got a new one instead, and the next one was 5 pieces of coal, which I also didn't have with me. So I just went back to the shop and got some more coal. I also grabbed gold and silver this time, and after giving in the coal I needed 3 iron ore. Luckily I dropped mine on the ground before leaving here so I could just pick it up and use it. And then I was told to talk to the director and he wanted 2 silver bars from me. I just went downstairs and bought them at the shop down below, but he wouldn't talk to me again to take them off me. He told me to speak to the secretary again and none of the options here seemed to be working. I had no idea what I'd done wrong. I tried just doing another task for this guy, so I dropped the ores that I had, bought what he needed in the shop, gave him what he wanted, and finally he told me to speak to the director again. Hopefully this time it doesn't mess up. This time he wanted 4 steel bars, and luckily I had 4 in my bank, so I grabbed them and gave them over. And finally he did actually ask me to join his wee gang, but I didn't even want to join him anymore. But I had to finish the quest, so I joined the blue opal and then went to get my rewards. That was for sure a grim quest, but it did give me some nice XP drops at least. It upped my smithing to 32, my crafting to 36, and my magic to 40, and my thieving to 43. Surprisingly, I did actually go straight on to do another quest after that one, this time the Garden of Death. This will get me a huge 10,000 farming XP drop. So I prepped for it and made my way to this campsite, went down into this hole where I had to do some translations from a stone tablet, and then I ran through this area of lizards things that poisoned and attacked me. I'm so glad that that wasn't a multi-area and I'm still alive. I hopped on a wee boat and went down into another hole, completed some more translation things, then ran back through the lizards and down this hole. Quests like this really make me glad that Quest Helper exists. I had one more set of translations to do after that, and then this quest was complete. That didn't really seem like a farming quest to me at all, but I'm not complaining about 10,000 XP. It took me right up to 32 farming, and now I can grow Ranar weeds. Next up was a Black Knight's Fortress, which I had to start from the castle in Falador, and then nearby I could buy an iron chain body that I needed for this quest. The fortress here was pretty scary and my spam clicks weren't helping me. I had to go up and down lots of different ladders and then sneakily listen in through this gate. I went to go into this room next, but I couldn't choose the right option to get in because this guy kept attacking me. I finally got him stuck and entered. I flung a cabbage into the pipe here, which ended up in the witch's cauldron and absolutely ruined her potion. I headed back to Falador and completed the quest, and it didn't actually really get me anything useful, but it was a pre-requirement for doing recruitment drive, which is what I started next, right here in the same place. I spoke to the guy sitting on the bench in the park and he stuck me in some escape room type thing. First I looted the room and then made a wee potion on the Bunsen burner. I stuck a spade in the door and poured out some chemical things to break through the lock, I guess, and then I made my way out of here. The next room was a memory test, which was super easy. And then in this room I had to fight my way out. I lifted the warhammer and then started punching. Equipping the warhammer helped and I was able to win the battle and leave that room. Finally I had to carry a chicken across the bridge and then carry a fox over, take the chicken back, and then the sack was up next. Then back to the chicken and we were all across safely. And after that I'd escaped all the rooms I needed to and the quest was over. It gave me some prayer, herblore and agility XP. And also a nice 3,000 coin drop. I got 22 prayer and 20 herblore off that quest. And then I didn't really know what to do next, so I spent ages standing in the bank and finally decided to take myself over to Draenor Manor to kill ghosts for my Slayer task. I wanted to use range here because I desperately need to level up that skill, but it was taking me so feckin' long to do these kills. I used a massive amount of my arrows here too, so I kept picking them up and re-equipping them when I could. I figured out a way to safe spot them using the stuff that was lying on the floor, and eventually I reached a range level of 19. And now I can so nearly upgrade to that better bow. I also hit 850 total levels while I was here, and soon enough I was level 20 and could use a willow bow. But what wasn't soon enough was finishing this damn Slayer task. It took me 50 minutes to kill 32 ghosts, but once I'd killed them I completed the Slayer task and then I grabbed the arrows that I could and left the place hoping I'd never be back here. I got a clue scroll during that Slayer task, so I headed over to Lumbee for the first step where I had to speak to the cook. He gave me a new clue scroll and it told me to go to the manor that I was literally just at. Great. So back I went and I got another clue scroll which told me to go back to the cook again. This game's actually taking the mickey out of me here. Thankfully I got my casket next, which gave me a staff of water and some fish. And I'd honestly had enough at that point and logged out for the night.